Right, okay, so question 11 part B, we're going to write some pseudocode for 4 marks. Let's see what we need to do. So first of all, we need to convert P to uppercase. So we can use the uCase library routine in pseudocode to do that. So let's do that first of all. So let's say P, we're going to assign that uCase P. So take P, convert it to uppercase, and then we're going to assign that back to P. Now we need to find the position of Q in the string P. And the first character in the string is in position 1. So I'm going to take a slightly different approach to the mark scheme. I'm going to use a for loop because we can set the for loop up to iterate or loop over every character in the string. And we can use a for loop because we know how long the string is. So it's an appropriate loop structure that we can use. More on that later when we talk about the mark scheme. So for, I'm going to call my loop variable count, assign 1 to the length of P. So P is the world, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 9 characters long. So that will be for count assign 1 to 9. So that'll do. Now what we need to do now is just need to compare Q with each character in P. So we can use the substring library routine for that. So you'll know this from your revision. So we've got substring, we have the string that we're after. The next argument is the position, so that'll just be a number, and then the final argument is the number of characters that we want to return. So we can say if substring, so P is the string we're after, the position is going to be count, so the first position will be 1, so that'll be the first character in our string, which is the T, and we just want to return 1 character, which will be the character that we're on. If that is equal to Q, then we want to store the position of Q in the variable position. So we're going to set position, we're going to assign that count. Let's just pop an end if, and let's just look at what we've done. So we've set up a loop that's going to go from 1 to the length of the string P. Then we're taking the substring from P using the count. So the first time around the count will be 1, so it will be the first letter in the world, which will be there. We compare that with Q. If it's the same, we'll set position to count. If it's not, we'll carry on to character 2, and I'll just keep going around. So I just need to add my next count there, and I'm pretty happy we've done everything that they've asked for. Let's have a little look at the mark scheme. So converting P to uppercase, we've done that. We've found the length of P to get our loop going, so we've done that there. We're using a loop to check the position of Q. We've done that here. We've done that, and use the string operation substring. We've done that, and storing the loop counter in position if the value is found. So we've done plenty to get all of the marks for that. You can see in the mark scheme they've taken a slightly different approach. They've used a condition controlled loop. They've used a repeat until, and the advantage of doing this is that what they can do is they can actually stop once they've found a match. They can stop, but it doesn't actually ask us to do that in the question, and there's actually no marks in the mark scheme for doing that. So it would make more sense to use a for loop, and you're probably more comfortable with using a for loop. But if you want to go ahead and use a condition control loop, that's absolutely fine. That's absolutely fine. There's another way that, just thinking about it, that I think you may answer this question, because you may not actually think about using the substring library routine I'm just going to very quickly, let's just add a little bit of code here. So P, so let's just do that there. So we can start off converting P to uppercase. I can use a for loop again for count, assign 1 to length of P. But this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because in any programming language you can actually iterate over a string, and we can do that in pseudocode. So what we can say is we can say if P count, so that will, what we're saying there is we're saying take the first character of P, if that's equal to Q, then, oh, and I forgot to put a then there, so I hope you were shouting at your screen there telling me to put a then there. It's not going to cost you any marks in pseudocode unless you had another if and you forgot to put, so if you had two if statements and you had a then on one and not on the other, that would probably cost you, but if you, it's all about being consistent with pseudocode. Anyway, so if P count, so if, let's say if P1 is equal to Q, then we want to assign position count. And remember, with position, they actually give us that variable in the question, so we have to write it capital P, spell it as they've spelt it correctly, obviously. End if next count. So I suspect quite a few of you might actually see this as a more sort of viable answer in the exam situation, especially if you perhaps don't think about using the substring library routine as they have done in the mark scheme. But if we look at this, we're still, we convert P to uppercase, we're finding the length of P, we're still doing that. We're using a loop to check the position of Q, we're doing that. We're not using the string operation substring, but we are storing the loop counter in position if the value is found. So we're still getting the 4 marks. So there's a couple of options there for an answer for this question. So obviously you use the method that you're more comfortable with. I think it's all about practice lots of questions. You'll be absolutely fine. We might as well do the last bit while we're here. So give the position after the algorithm has been executed with the data in question 11a. So if we just come back up to the top here, so I mean we're basically taking each character of the world. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 will be a match because don't forget we've converted the world to uppercase. So we've got W here is the same as Q, and that's position 5. So we can just do that. And there's the answer for that one. Right, so if you managed to stick to the end of this one, well done. Good luck if you have an exam coming up, and I hope this has helped. Thank you very much.